Muchas gracias, señorita. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to my webinar, broadcasting live from Mexico City. This is me, myself, Alberto Alvarado. This is my YouTube channel. In any case, if you haven't subscribed, I strongly suggest to do so. Go to the YouTube search box. You type iiivb Trading Group channel as it is in here. It will show up. You click subscribe. Today is Thursday, February the 9th, 2017. My local time is 1 a.m., 10 minutes past the hour, 7 a.m., 10 minutes past the hour, GMT time. And I would like to thank Katerina for hosting, as always. Rokas from Lithuania, thanks for showing up, all the guests. And I don't know if Doc Dow is listening or something, but in any case, if he's around, hello. So, what we're going to talk about today is my officially disaster contest account. I mean, you cannot get more official than this. A disaster more official than this one, you cannot simply have it. So, we're going to review that and to subtract the knowledge, education of the mistakes, of the situations, what has happened. Of course, the contest just began, so I still have 3 more weeks to put it at least at break even. I believe that will happen. Honestly, of course, this month would be pretty much impossible to win any kind of stuff. But well, my idea is just to at least close it in break even. So that hurt my 6 and 12 month performance the less possible. So we're going to review that. First of all, this is my trading contest account in 1 year. Sorry, this is in Spanish again. Okay, well, but this is the 1 year chart. My drawdown average is 75%. This is way too much. This needs to be below 60 to qualify for the 1 year Grand Prix contest. Trader of the year. I am in profit, so 3% in profit. So that is good. But of course, this is in track of improvement. Then here we have the 6 month. I have here 68%. I need to have less than 60% here. So now in both, I'm not qualifying. In this case, my monthly performance is 55%. So this is my chart. So as you can see here, it looks pretty decent after the massive profit last month. I have just lost this, so this is not a big deal when you look back and compare you contrast your results with your past records. But this is the one now. I mean, I am in an average 82% in drawdown. So this tells you the magnitude of the damage in this account. Okay, so this is pretty much how this looked like. You can see here, after having the first spike favorably on the New Zealand dollar trade that I opened, I got here, but I decided not to close it. So now it's clear that it was a mistake. We're going to review that. I opened some other 2 trades yesterday, and I closed them profitably yesterday. But of course, the lot sizing and the overall profit and loss from those 2 trades were not significant. Unfortunately, we had yesterday the Royal Bank of New Zealand stating on interest rates, and the markets didn't like the speech. They considered it way dovish, so they started selling the New Zealand dollar. But again, as I've been saying in other webinars, trading is about knowing the reasons why you're holding a trade, you're opening a trade, etc. It's normal that you close trades in losses. That it's normal. I mean, it's a human activity. But you need to be able to at least, and I've been saying this before, you mostly and certainly need to be able to say, I am proud of my mistakes, because at least they qualified at some moment. They qualified for triggering that trade. And well, at times you win, at times you lose. For the very specific characteristics of this trading contest, you need to always be over leveraged, so these kind of things could happen. So we're going to review that because this applies to live accounts when you are more or less starting your trading career. The leverage, the margin. For example, you remember that that this weekend I had a terrible margin call that, by the way, if it hadn't been triggered, all those trades would have been closed in heavy profits now. We're going to review that again. But well, at times this is what was on the table. I had that margin call and I opened a bad trade, so now I am holding this. But the idea is that this is what happened to me before. At this moment, I just dropped the account. I just said, you know what, forget about it. I will focus on my live accounts. But in this case, since I am really considering the contest seriously, I will do my best to at least some realistic goal. I believe that kind of an unrealistic goal is to believe that you can put your account in break even by the end of the month. But if I can reduce the drawdown and close it maybe in 10% of losses, that would be great. Because that would be amazing, by the way. So yeah, I'm going to try hard these next weeks. If I do things properly, I could even close it in a profit. But of course, what will hurt me in the long term is this drawdown. Because as you've seen, both my 6 and 12-month Grand Prix statistics went underperforming the minimum acceptable performance. So yeah, that will hurt me for quite maybe. If I don't do it correctly this month, the most likely thing is that not up to next month, and only if next month I perform correctly, I will be out of the 6 and 12-month competition. So well, answering a question that I received in my mail. It's at times I just don't understand people. Usually when you have somebody showing results, they usually are very proud of showing when they have profits and very shy and they hide the losses. Okay? So that's something that you should at least distrust. And when you have somebody that as I've been saying, I'm not shy on showing this because pretty much this trading contest account is for educational purposes, and I said that mid of last month of January. I said that. So yeah, either we win, either the account blows in 1,000 pieces, etc. It's irrelevant. The thing is that this is not only blah blah talking, but trying to apply this into very real, or at least the most real a demo account can be. But since I am opening here trades that we evaluate here openly, I'm not just opening random trades, just betting for the next home run that will put me in profit. No, there's a logic behind. I post every day at least one post on technical analysis on the situation of a currency, etc., etc. So this will happen to you eventually. You will need to face losses. Of course, the idea in a live account is that any loss puts you in 80% of drawdown, because that means that you're not using a proper money management unless you are using a super high risk account for that purpose. But besides that, it is the most common thing that you will face losses. So you need to be psychologically strong and to have the tools to evaluate it. Because if you don't have a way to measure it, to evaluate it, there is no way that you can learn from your mistakes. And this is like just giving the back to a gold mine, because when you commit mistakes is where the gold mine relies. Not when you are right, because when you are right, well, maybe there's few things that you can learn from your successes. You learn 1,000 more times of your mistakes. Okay, so we will review that, and wishing that maybe this kind of logic could help you, either if you're competing in a contest account or managing your live account, or even having this kind of losses in a live account. This should help. Okay, we have a comment here. Guest 11, Xenia Shulaeva, good morning. Thanks for dropping by. Guest 11, I think you cannot win this contest when you don't go full risk. When you just take 1 to 5% risk, you have no chance to come in the price position. Exactly, Guest 11. That's the exact reality of this. Because when you see that last month, for example, the first place took more than 1,000% in profit, it's impossible just to get there using a live account money management. Okay? But even if you can lose this kind of competition, and that doesn't mean that maybe you're not profitable in live accounts. But maybe at times you get lucky, maybe you're a super trader, and maybe you even manage to make money in your live accounts, because it's, of course, overall, when you have traders winning constantly positions in this contest, that inevitably means that this guy or this girl knows exactly what he or she is doing. But yeah, here you have to take that extra risk and to enjoy it. And in the meanwhile, you learn a lot of things. Even if you're profitable in your live accounts, when you push your accounts, a demo account, to its limits, you start seeing things that maybe would be invisible if you manage your accounts super conservatively. So yeah, as I said last month, trading this, trying to win this, or losing this contest gives a tons of learning material. So yeah, this is the objective of this, but I agree with you. I wouldn't be opening this kind of lot sizing in my live accounts ever. That is true. So yeah, for example, if I had opened this in my live account, that wouldn't have mean 80% of drawdown. But in the other hand, maybe the other 2 trades that I opened yesterday that I had to close in profit, but they were super small sized, maybe in my live accounts, those ones would have put me in profit. But yeah, it's a matter of at times luck. Overall, when you're in a losing position in this trading contest, yeah, it's hard, but it requires a skill. Whether we over leverage or not, you need to be skilled to win this. Here it says, Xenia, you've got the best pronunciation of my last name so far. Okay, well, I don't know if that was a sarcasm or something, but thank you. Shulaeva. Okay, so let's continue. By the way, by any chance, guest 11 is David? Okay, thank you, Xenia. I needed to I just say to compensate to I just forgot a way to say to compensate that I was pronouncing your name badly, Shania. At least I need to pronounce your surname correctly. Where did you make that last loss position? We're going to review that. This was just margin called yesterday after New Zealand Central Bank decision. We're going to review those exact trades. Actually, this is the first. This is the exact first one that I want to review. This happened, well, I'm going to let this for the end because we need to put some context on the things that I commented during the posting. But, where it is? Okay, here it is. First of all, yeah, Kiwi crashed heavily. I mean, I was not surprised because I've been tracking, and I commented here and in the traders blog, that we had during 2 weeks a major descending channel in the weekly charts being broken during 2 weeks to the upside. So when that happened, I commented that the risks were to the upside, of course, because of the momentum, but that we needed to be aware that when those breakouts happen, the markets love to retrace, to retest the previous trend line, and then maybe to continue moving in the momentum direction. So that is apparently what the market is trying to figure out, and we're going to review that. And this will throw a lot of educational aspects for learning. I just posted some hours ago this New Zealand dollar, United States dollar 4-hour outlook. okay? This is the sell-off after the New Zealand decision, central bank, okay? So we dropped from here to here from more or less 73.10 to 72.55.50, okay? So if the price, when I posted this, the price happened cross this line, okay? So imagine that the price was here. So this is my post. Some hours ago I said, today the dollar lost territory apparently because of the markets are considering that any Fed movement won't happen, but after March. Potus and his speech continues, fueling uncertainty on the real long-term consequences for this very unique approach to U.S. fundamentals. Kiwi triple top in the 4-hour chart. This is the 4-hour chart, and this was a triple top. This is the first top, the second top, and the third top. Showing solidity plus the overall direction and its strength, both close to neutrality now, at no man's land, could be ruling out any further gains in the pair. Of course, that was after New Zealand dollar crash, after the Royal Bank of New Zealand stating on interest rates. Okay, so that put the let's say the overall direction and momentum in neutral. This is gradually boosted by minor time frame stacks building bearish momentum. Of course, if you have this sudden sell-off in the 4-hour chart, that means that at least in the 1 hour, in the 30 minutes, in the 15 minutes, pretty much all the technicals were pointing heavily to the downside. Okay. This was caused because the speech of Royal Bank of New Zealand was, along with recent Royal Bank of Australia, dovish on the future of the rate hike, of the rates. Okay. So at this point, it was very clear that what I was expecting, and we're going to review that because if you remember, my objective here was at 0.74. And I was commenting exactly at this point yesterday that I had to face the decision either to close a trade here at less than half of the profits that I was looking for or let it run. For the very specific characteristics of the trade and the trading contest, I decided to let it run. But people know here that the way I approach those trades in live accounts, by the way, this trade, I didn't open it in live account, is at the major first resistance, I take half of the position out, the profits, and the rest at break even. Theoretically, this trade in any live account would have been represented in a partial profit and in the rest being taken out at break even. But of course, because of the aspect that guest 11 just mentioned, in order to try to win this, you need to try to push the account further. And maybe if you had settled for 10, 15 pips in your live account, maybe here you will try to push it a little bit more to 25, 30 pips. Okay, so, well, that is not like a smart way to play a live account, but of course this is a contest account, ultra risk. So, well, that is the reason. But, well, the ones that have been following me for long enough, they know that the way I usually trade this in live accounts is taking half at the first take profit target and then just let the market do its thing. Because the most part of the times, as I've been saying in the webinars, the markets tend to retrace at the first take profit target in sight. And the ending of my post said, but still and purely tech biased, daily and overall monthly are still bullish. Any bullish position now needs to preserve a initial stop loss or in any case moved at triple top lowest line. This is the lowest line of that triple top at that moment. So my initial stop loss here was 0.7240 and it was barely not hit by the price action after the New Zealand central bank speech. When I realized that, I said, okay, do I let that stop loss at 72.40 or I just lowered it 20 more pips below this line? I decided to do that because, yeah, the massive hit was already in play. My drawdown was 80% already. So yeah, it was like, you know what? It's exactly the same at this moment. If I got lucky, maybe this could retrace to break even and I could close it. But this is the difference in logic. When you're playing a demo account, you need to know exactly the things that you can actually do in demo. But you need to have a very clear line in the sand. That what things you cannot apply into live trading. For example, that one. My stop loss would have been put at break even when the price got here initially. So this trade would have been, I have taken half of the profits here, and I would have been stopped out here. So yeah, that would have happened in my live accounts. Why? Because my experience tells me that we need to play it conservative. Your money, your live money, your hard-earned money, you need to play it that way. When you're playing this kind of stuff, you can, for example, me, I just didn't close the trade here. Not only that, I just let it retrace. And not only that, I decided to move a little bit the stop loss below, but it has a reason. It has a reason why, because the reason for this was not a triple top in the 30-minute chart. When I checked the market here, very close to my stop loss, I realized that in the 4-hour we had this configuration. So I said, okay, it could be justifiable to move your stop loss against you somewhat. So, well, I decided to move it here, and I was eventually stopped out. So I was not trying just to say, okay, at 1 pip I am just about to be stopped. I move it 20 more pips and then 20 more. No. You need to realize this. If I am exposing my explanations in public, in YouTube, if I take a decision, I need at least to be convinced enough that I can explain my mistakes with having no shy of them. So that could help you have an idea when you decide to tweak a trade, maybe to increase a little bit the stop loss or whatever. Imagine that afterwards you will be exposed in national television explaining your logic. And if you cannot look you back in television and still feel proud of your explanation, that means that you are not having the right reasons for maybe increasing a little bit the stop loss. For example, here, this trade lasted like 3 days, I believe, open. Most part of the time in losses. At the first time it made this high, I didn't take profits. I let it run. Why? At that moment, there were, and you can check my previous posts, were ascending channels in the 4-hour or 1-hour chart. So all the technicals, charts, patterns, etc. And my conviction, my reading of the markets was still bullish. So you need to have a reason to do what you do, either to close your trade in losses or profit, to close a pending order, to change a take profit target, a stop loss. So this is the one that I posted today. Well, you know, guest 11, that's a huge, very good question. The answer is, I have no hell idea. In trading, nobody knows. We don't have an idea. I will show you why I believe that the market could stop here and take a pause. But actually, I don't know if this continues moving down. What is not helping is that the Royal Bank of Australia some days ago was dovish also. So even though we had that major weekly pattern broken to the upside by Kiwi, we had the same kind of a speech from the Bank of New Zealand. So of course, those are heavy fundamentals. So yeah, maybe this could even drop lower. But we have some important trend lines that I will show you in some minutes that I believe that the market should take a pause here. But of course, any decent rational acceptable bullish scenario is not realistic, as I just said here in the post. The 4-hour chart showing solidity plus the overall direction and strength being neutral now could be ruling out any further gains in this pair. So yeah, I mean, when you see that after a breakout of a pattern, the currency loses steam, the most likely thing is that it will take a pause, that it will just retrace a little bit. And the only thing that could justify any kind of bullish movement here are only technicals on the monthly and the daily. Of course, monthly is very important. But when you contrast the monthly technicals, only technicals, mathematical formulas, you compare that to just what happened yesterday of the next steps of the New Zealand bank, central bank, of course, this second one outperforms and overlays the monthly technicals. So yeah, that is why technicals and technical analysis are always lagging. They are behind the curve because they are calculation after the fact. So yeah, the monthlies, not because they're bullish, that means that the movement will continue. Okay, so well, that's what I wrote today. This is the reason, guest 11, answering your question. This is the reason why I said, if you remember, I posted this on February the 4th. Exactly here I was explaining that this channel down in the 1 week chart was broken. So this, we should watch all this before considering any bearish position. That was before the New Zealand central bank speech, of course. But this is the reason why I believe that the market could stabilize at some point here. Because what it was a resistance, now broken, now is working as a support and is a 1 week chart. So it's very difficult that the market just ignores these levels. Of course, it can ignore it, and it has happened that not even monthly levels resist a retracement. But well, we need to understand that besides we have potential Brexit risks this year. So yeah, some participants in the markets would like to gradually maybe start playing it conservatively, selling high risk or higher risky assets like the Kiwi. Well, this is the reason I believe why the market should stabilize somewhat here. But what I mean with stabilizing? Stabilizing could mean it just dropped here, and it could jump here and retest again, and retest again, and retest again. Stabilizing doesn't necessarily mean that it will stabilize in this price horizontally. It will just reduce this volatility and maybe gradually could start trying to retest this. And since this is a weekly chart, we could continue seeing a bearish momentum in Kiwi for the next two weeks, but while retesting this previous resistance that are now the market will try to figure out if it supports being a support. That is why. But yeah, if I can just say it in few words, to reverse this, and since the market could be retesting this while it gets lower and lower and lower, in any case that somebody wanted to bet maybe to have a bullish position that touches the 0.74, my objective should be very careful because you can continue having bearish momentum during the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. Maybe you're respecting this line, but well, that is why I believe that the bulls could still have chances, but there are at least two kinds of bullishness: the active ones and the passive ones. The active ones are the ones that are in a trade that is actually currently moving in the direction they are foreseeing. The passive ones are the ones that, while the market does the opposite, they start opening trades in the contrarian direction, that when it goes up, they are bullish, but they are bullish passive, buying while the prices are dropping. So now, if it could be considered that we are still in bullish trend, the ones buying are the ones that are really willing to wait weeks until they see their positions in positive. So yeah, as a speculator, short term, no. Bullishness, maybe it's not the way to go, at least not currently. Overall, after what I said, is Royal Bank of New Zealand explanation. Let me show you. This is the New Zealand trade. Okay, I open it here. I held it here firmly, even though it retested here. So here, at that moment, that webinar, I said I had to face at that moment the situation of closing the trade at this, what should be the way you should manage live accounts. But I really needed this trade to close at 0.74 to put my account at break-even, and that's what I wanted. That was my objective. That is why trading styles are as many as traders in the world, because everybody's following a different objective. Mine, in this demo trading account, was putting my account in break-even. Of course, you should have different interests if this was a live account. Or if it was a live account with that super extra risk account that maybe you would say, you know what, all or nothing. But if it's your conservative live account, maybe, as I said, I would have put this, taken half of my profits here, as I've done it before, moving the rest at break-even, and immediately after I would have been at stopped out at break-even. It retraced, it continued stabilizing, and just moments before the Royal Bank of New Zealand speech, as you can see, there were like still reasons to believe that that weekly breakout to the upside could continue, because there were no, for example, major movements touching this level, for example. The markets were just expecting and waiting to see what the Royal Bank said, and immediately the words disappointing them, and they just start selling off. My initial stop loss should have been here at 72.40. I just moved it 20 pip lower. So, well, there it is. The other one is at 72.20. So you can see it was only this. I was not moving my stop loss 100 pip lower. And it was just because in the 4 hour I found that triple top thing. If I hadn't found it, I would have let the stop loss just at 72.40. Okay, so this is how it played. And this is what put my account in more than 80% of drawdown. This saw I was commenting yesterday that I opened 2 other trades that I closed profitably, but they were very small lot size. Hi, I guess 52. Oh, really? Well, I am at 20,000 from 100,000, so you shouldn't feel that bad, guess 52. Oh my God! What do you? I bet that you had a margin call, right? Would you mind to share, if you don't mind, share what happened, what trade went wrong, if you don't mind. If you do, then no problem. For example, here, I was commenting that I was opening the direction of the New Zealand dollar trade. There was a strong correlation between the Kiwi and the Euro Australian dollar. So I decided to play it in the same direction, of course in the contrary position. While having and holding a long trade in Kiwi, I decided to short Euro Australian dollar. I shorted it here, as you can see. The market did this, then put me in favor, retested this. This was a major resistance, so that is why I did it. And the moment it retested here again, this is what I should have done in the New Zealand dollar live trade, and maybe in the demo I should have done this because I did it here. Why I did it here? Because since I was using 100% of my leverage at that moment, of course I wanted to get rid of the positions to free a little bit of margin. But as you can see here, the market went exactly where I wanted, and at this moment I took profit, and look what it did after. Okay, so this is the way to play it. Why I did it this time and not with the Kiwi trade? Because I was pushed by a lot of pressure on my margin and pushed me to do this. So this is not just a thing that I am saying after the fact, I should have taken that half profits there. No, this is actually something I did here. And it was, why I did it? Because yeah, maybe it could have continued. But in any ways, this should mean a heavy take profit trade. I did it. It was a right decision. So this was plus 48 pip. But if you see, it was only 1 million lot, while my New Zealand position was 5. And I opened, I opened a bullish trade here on Mexican peso. Well, buying dollars, selling Mexican peso here. What's here? This was. Yeah. Because here in the hour, I don't know if it was a 15-minute chart, a triangle was broken, so I decided, I made a quick analysis, and I decided just to go long. And as you can see, the market gave me some reason. And my objective was at 20.7. But since I started seeing kind of weakness here, I decided to close it. So this is the way I usually trade. But for my specific and bad luck in this time, I decided just to push it a little bit further, my New Zealand trade. Of course, since my objective now is less ambitious and it's only to rebuild my account to break even, of course, the most likely thing is that in the next 3 weeks I will opening less ambitious position, closing them at the first take profit target, and just try to build my account to break even for the next 3 weeks. But I want you to look at this. My objective was just above here. The same thing that happened with New Zealand dollar trade. But here, since I was pushed and pushed by the margin pressures, I just said, you know what? I will close this trade now. And it was closed at plus 526 pip. But look at the account, the lot size. It was only almost 700,000 units. Again, contrasting with a 5 million New Zealand 98 pip loss trade. Well, of course, this really didn't help any. Here it said, guest 52 is sharing. Thanks for sharing, guest. The bad trade that put him from 150,000 to 80,000 was a bad trade in Gepi. It was sold at 139. And was looking for 137. But apparently it went against. But once the concept, I have been at 20,000 and then recovered to 40,000 in October flash crash. Guest 11 says, will you now try the account to recover to 100,000? First of all, Guest 52, thanks for sharing. And remember that we need to be proud of our losses because are the ones that really gives us lessons. Guest 11, yes, I will try. Of course, building an account from $50,000 to $100,000 is like 1,000% in profit. So, yeah, maybe it's my objective. Of course, my objective of winning something just evaporated today. But of course, since I am trying to fight for the 6 and 12-month competition, I would rather to close this contest at break-even, because even though my drawdown will hurt, but at least my overall equity won't be hurt. So yeah, I will try it. Play it more conservative. Now you see 3 examples that I actually managed to trade to trades managing as if I was trading live account, at least where I took the profits. But my bad luck was the big one. I didn't do that because I got greedy on this demo account. That is why I never get greedy in life. Never. These are the consequences that happen. But well, this is part of the educational purposes of this contest. Here, guess 52. I have won 9th place from low of 40,000. So it is possible. Oh my God, you really did that. 9th place from 40,000. Oh my. Well, congratulations. Could you share us your FX community name? Because then you should be kind of famous here. Oh my God, from 40,000 to 300. Oh my. Wow. Oh my, well, I will try my best, but I really see it very difficult for me just to yeah, I would try it. And if you come by and we can check it out, well, maybe if I make it, you can congratulate me back. Guest 11 says, if you bring the account back to 100,000, you are good. Even 80,000 K. Thanks, guest. Yes, I would try. I guess I could get it to 80,000. 100,000, I believe that's presumptuous. That could be extra hard. But yeah, I will try. I mean, we still have 3 weeks. So yeah, if I manage to open to really cherry pick my trades, I could maybe I could get it. So yeah, I will do my best to close it at 80,000. Here it says guest 52, over 60% drawdown. Well, yeah, my account now is at 85% drawdown this month, and I cannot do that against that. So yeah. But well, the competition's not over yet. Hello, David. Welcome. Buongiorno, mio amico. So this is the last but not the least, the trade that I opened. Okay, I just opened a bearish trade in Mexican peso below 20.50, targeted 20.3. Stop loss 20.6. Why? Because of the reason that I see a little bit of weakness, even though for the current context, the market could go against me. Yeah, I know it. But I'm doing something else after seeing the New Zealand dollar trade. I was watching the Mexican peso, the one that really helped me a lot in last month's competition. And I believe that I developed some kind of special taste for that, since well, I'm in Mexico. I live here, so I breathe the economy here. So yeah, I see chances, and as you can see, my stop loss is lower than my take profit. I usually take 1-to-1, but this was very attractive to me. That actually, and by the way, here you cannot see it, but here it crosses a trend line. So yeah, I believe that the 20.6 in any case, it goes against me. It could still have chances to stop ahead my stop loss and maybe try to push, to make a push lower again. So yeah, some aspects of this trade converged. So I hope that this trade, if I win this trade, I would double my account from 50,000 to 30,000. So well, it's not that much, but of course something is something, right? So this is my current trade, and the only one. As you can see, is pretty much 1.8 million position. Here it says, Guest 52 is sharing. You are AAA rated. Why haven't you signed up with your name AAA rated? Look at the November chart, almost 55,000 down to up to. Okay, I will check it out. But since we're just 5 minutes from finishing, okay, so I will check the November chart. Okay, I will check it out. From 55 to 300. Wow. Oh my God, that's amazing. AAA rated. I didn't know Guest 52 was AAA, but now we know that AAA rated is Guest 52. You shouldn't be that shy and log on with your your nickname here. He's hidden undercover. Yeah, he is actually a CIA spy agent, spying on my webinars. Haha. Takes too long on the Firefox. Yeah, I usually quit the Firefox. I actually quit the Firefox for television. I'm using plain Internet Explorer, and it works great. So if anybody wants to try it, it's the only thing that I open with Internet Explorer, but it works really nice. Okay, now me with KGB. Yeah, CIA is kinda strange nowadays. So, well, I would like to thank everybody for showing up to this webinar, and expect me that tomorrow I will let you know what happened to this trade. Hopefully, I will not be crying out loud another loss that could put me in 5,000 in equity. So let's just hope that doesn't happen. And I would like to thank all the guests, of course, Katerina, as always, for hosting. Rokas from Lithuania. I need to pronounce that. I always make a mistake with that. Lithuania. Ducked out that I believe that is sleeping. David from Italy, AAA rated, also known as Guest 51. Ksenia Shulaeva. Thanks a lot, everybody. So, expect me tomorrow at the same time, the same place. Remember to trade safe, be safe, and bye-bye.